Senator Tillis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all to the witnesses for being here. Special thanks, Mr. Armitage. This is not normally your day job. These guys are a little bit accustomed to it, so I appreciate you being here. You know, I'm a little bit disappointed about the discussion today because none of this has to do with anything that's the least bit coherent strategy on how to really drive down health care costs. None of it.
Are you coming?
We seem to want to pick the villain of the month. Now it's the insurance companies. Maybe some of them should be held accountable. Some of them are dealing with actuarial realities. Maybe some are taking advantage. We like flogging pharmaceutical companies. A lot of people think pharmaceuticals are the only reason why health care is going up. Then we want to hit the health care providers because they're consolidating and demanding a higher price because there are fewer places to go. That's not where we as policymakers should be. We should understand there are myriad structural problems, some of which were initiated by the Affordable Care Act. Some of them are just unchecked and not managed by public policymakers since 2013, 2014, when the policies were available. So I'm only going to be here for 410 more days. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to get an opportunity to take a bite at that apple. But if people in the Senate and Congress want to get serious about this, they need to understand that insurers, pharmaceutical companies, healthcare providers, the government, and the inputs to these industries, and I should say the pharmacy benefit managers, all need to get into the barbershop and take a haircut. But instead, we do this piecemeal, political gotcha, gold leaf in the White House, you know, pick cheap shot from my side just to be fair. We get nothing done. And the only thing that's occurred since 2014 is prices keep going up. We also had, since these enhanced subsidies were put into place, a little pandemic, doesn't happen that often, had an impact on inflation. If my memory serves me correctly, I think probably the cumulative impact on just a broad rating for inflation was over 20% over the period of time since these enhanced subsidies were put into place. That by itself tells you that, you know, generally speaking, everything's going to go up at least that much. It's gone up more than that. But I just don't feel like we're having the right kind of discussion with temperatures lowered to try and Obamacare is great. Obamacare is horrible. The fact of the matter is you're looking at somebody who became Speaker of the House because of how poorly Obamacare was implemented in North Carolina. It changed the politics of North Carolina for the last generation because it was poorly executed, poorly conceived, and didn't take a single Republican vote or any kind of input on how to build actually a program that would address the root cause of the problem. I really believe a lot of people that implement Obamacare really wanted to produce better options for people like Mr. Armitage, but we didn't do it. We failed. And we've got to stop having this crosstalk and talking past each other. Or we had $18 billion in 2014 when Obamacare first started offering exchanges. Now we're approaching $150 billion, about $35 billion of which comes from these enhanced subsidies. I, for one, think that it would make sense not to put the millions of people who've come reliant on a fundamentally flawed program in a lurch by not extending the subsidies that exist today. I also think it would be malpractice if we did not set into place a scenario over the next 2 or 3 years where they were gone, but to provide a reasonable glide path for businesses and other solutions to take up the slack that this, $1 trillion every 10 years in healthcare subsidies are costing us. So I'm not going to have a lot of time, but I'm just saying, look, this just convinced me we're not going to get anything out of this hearing. What I hope we get is reasonable people understanding there are millions of people that should probably, you could argue whether or not the subsidy should have ever been passed, but they are what they are and people are relying on them. It makes more sense to extend it and bend the curve in the out years. One member's opinion. Since junk, I was going to ask a couple of questions. I'll have to submit, Mr. Blaze, some of the materials from Paragon are extraordinary, by the way. Thank you for that. We'll submit questions for the record. But Mr. Holtz-Eakin, I heard my colleague talk about cheap junk insurance. We get into that rhetoric. He's saying these catastrophic plans. Can you please, the chair will indulge me, just get past this rhetoric and tell me if we had what you've conceived of and presented, as a possible brick in the foundation going forward over the next 3 to 5 years, if we had catastrophic plans available to everybody, what would the risk pool, premium trajectory, and market segmentation look like, in your opinion, over the next 3 to 5 years?
And could you please be brief?
Yeah.
If they're in the ACA, if you provided them for everybody in the ACA, the work we've done suggests you'd see the overall risk pool get a little bit healthier. You'd see the overall number of insured people go up compared to the expiration of the credits. It would be cheaper for the government, and we would see the costs of the catastrophic / bronze plans drop sharply.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Sanders.